Hello, Hearties. Welcome to Hearties. We've got a special Valley Voice edition, editorial Christmas edition. We're wrapping up the Winkles the Heart cast movies, which is kind of sad, but we're super excited to dive into Kevin McGarry's movie, A Reason for the Season. I'm Jeanette Stevens from Michigan.
I'm Kim McDonald from Ontario, Canada.
Lori Pearson from Alabama.
And Marg from San Diego.
Welcome, everybody. We're glad to see you. Everybody's fresh off of watching it. We just watched it last night. So a lot to talk about. Before we dive into what's everybody's first impressions overall?
I just want to say our cast is amazing. These are three really solid, good movies, and they should be super proud of themselves. So yeah.
I thought it was fun. I had fun by watching it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was really heartwarming.
Yeah, the ones that are on the Hallmark Mystery Channel, I feel have a little bit of a different tone to them, which is enjoyable. It's kind of, especially coming off the super comedic movie last week with Santa Tell Me, it's quite the contrast, but both are just refreshing and great, I think.
Yes.
So let's dive into, we're going to talk about the story and script to start off. So what did everybody think about the story overall? The writer, I should mention, is, I want to say Brooke. I wrote it down. Brooke Durham was the writer for this one.
I love that name, Brooke Durham.
Yeah.
I just building on the point that you made, sometimes the Hallmark mystery movies, I'm not clear on why they're on Hallmark Mystery, and this really slotted well, I thought, into Hallmark Mystery. Holiday Crashers, not so sure that was why that was on Hallmark Mystery, but this one just made sense there. So I really liked that off the bat.
I liked the beginning, and it's kind of the whole thing of her. At first, I was like, wait a minute, who's she talking to? And then I realized, oh, she's pregnant. And she's talking, and I was like, okay, something's happened. I knew that she was going to go into labor, but I was like, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? It was just very sweet to hear her talking to a baby. I think it set the tone for the mother-daughter relationship later on.
Yeah, Kim, what about you? What do you think of the story overall?
I enjoyed the story. If you know me, you know I didn't like lies in another story recently, but I felt that this, white lie was a little bit more believable and needed to be done.
You could live with this one, huh?
No problem living with this one. And I felt that, she outed herself at exactly
much
the right
earlier.
time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And there was another, the mother also kind of stretched the truth too. So Elizabeth did.
I really liked that aspect of it. I have to be honest, I forgot that it opened, of course, with the mother flashback, and I really did like that part. But I have to, what I was thinking of with the Hearties, with that, the subsequent scenes was like, oh, Hearties, stick with it, because there's such an ick factor with her with
character.
Evie's character. I was just like, this is going to be the typical, rich, jerky woman. And it felt like they were setting up a formula. And of course, if you do stick with it, it is such a heartfelt, beautiful, I think they did a great job with it. But there was in that beginning that tinge of like, oh, we're not at the Four Seasons, the whole thing. And I was just like, oh no,
Well, when they first introduced her, when Elizabeth was doing her spiel on stage and she called her up, she was just kind of folded into herself, and it was almost like her mother was overshadowing her. And I was like, oh, she's living in her mother's shadow. But then that whole conversation with her mother, I have to admit, started turning me off on her character. I was like, oh, this is boy, a little rich girl. And so it was good to see her starting to thaw from that chilling.
Yeah, it was different in the fact that we it's the common Hallmark trope, the big city girl. But I don't know that we've had, a lot of times it's like the workaholic or I don't know that we've had like the trust fund baby spoiled rich girl kind of situation that this character brought. So I think I agree. That's why it kind of took you back right out of the gate a little bit.
Mhm.
We've
And
had
then
the
later-
we've had spoiled royalty before, but maybe
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
daughter of billionaire. I don't know. Let's
Yeah.
see.
Which
And
is
then
which is-
Like your
later the mother explains, towards the end that it's because the people were trying to get to the mother that they were using her, and that's why
I
she
love
was so
that.
jaded. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay,
yeah.
putting the pieces
Yeah.
together now.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
let you
it-
sort of walk in her shoes and understand more where she was
Mhm.
coming from. And it really turned, I mean, the contrast of that, because it really became like a pay it forward movie. That's actually why I wore my food bank hat today. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's how Hearties,
good idea.
'cause that's how
Mhm.
Hearties pay it forward. I love that it was just such a contrast that like she started off so strongly that way. And then it becomes very much the entire script and the story was about the different ways she got to know people and make a difference in the community and pay it forward. And so I think they really had to play that up very strongly at the beginning to make you have that. What'd you call it, Mark? The ick factor.
Yeah, there was a little ick
Yeah.
factor,
Mhm.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was, I thought it was a good. There were some nice comedic moments. I really loved the very frosty check-in with Mrs. King in the beginning. I mean, as much as the ick factor was there, it was like Mrs. King just kept working the program. She was
was
I'm
relentless.
going to get you into these holiday activities,
Mhm.
and I liked that, and I liked how all of them were staring out at her when she was taking pictures at the
Yeah.
diner. And I don't know, did you notice that our famous extraordinaire Denise was
Denise was there.
So the Wind Calls the Heart
Missed her.
extra that we see.
Mhm.
She's working in the diner and she's in several scenes. So I took a picture.
Oh, that's fun.
And she was at HFR. She's been at HFR.
She was, yes.
Yeah.
A couple of them.
Yeah, and in terms of the, I loved the make under instead of the
Yes.
over. I just thought that when he asks her, did you major in mischief? Because she changed colleges
Yeah.
several times. So I thought there were some clever comedic things in there
Mhm.
to kind of like the guy making fun of the diner and how bad the food was and stuff. I think anytime you play with the tropes, it helps, it helps not feel so formulaic. So that's really great.
Her getting arrested in and of itself was
That
hysterical.
that was
And the way that
precious.
worked into several comedic moments.
Mhm.
Just the mugshot was hysterical. They're like, no
was.
smiling, no smiling.
Yeah,
Kept
some
looking
really
at the camera.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Taylor, let's dive into the chemistry between Taylor and Taylor and Kevin McGarry. This is the first time they've worked together, I believe. I know they're both staples on the network now. What do you guys think of their chemistry?
Jeanette, it was you that in a previous conversation said that you've seen her at Christmas cons, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
she's
very kind, down to earth,
Oh,
but
good.
stunning, just stunning too in person.
She is stunning.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah. Just
No,
visually, they looked gorgeous together. to start
gorgeous.
with.
No,
Yeah.
I was right there with all the lawyer whose office is in the hockey rink. I mean,
Oh,
I was
you
going to
had
say
me
that
right
meet
here.
cute.
You had me right here. It was so adorable.
That
Adorable.
meet cute was so sweet. And when he
Really was.
his office was in like the concession stand area. Is that where it was? He just plumped down his
He put that sign down.
nameplate.
Yeah.
That
puts
name
his hat down, picks up the sign, and off he goes.
Yeah. I love that. Like, did he just have the sign in his pocket? Like, where did that?
No, it's on the
Fantastic.
counter. Like it's a
really?
staple on the counter
Okay,
of the canteen.
Yeah, I don't know
Hilarious.
was it that a director's choice or props or that was great. It was great. Love it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I would like to have skating lessons with
Mhm. That was a
Kyle.
nice scene. Yeah, very
Yeah.
nice scene.
I loved it. Yeah.
I
and
had skating
several
lessons.
working dinners would also be very nice. I
Mhm.
loved that whole working dinner setup. I think that was
Yeah.
And I'd written
And
down.
I'll bet
I
I'll
had
bet
skating
Taylor
lessons with
can.
my cousin, And boy, I wish it was Kevin McGarry instead of that.
Yeah, that would have been much better.
But
Your cousin didn't quite meet
no,
Kevin
he
McGarry.
was my cousin. I'm like,
Right. Yes.
and I was mad at him because he was just like, you should be able to do this. And I couldn't.
Kim, what do you think of their chemistry overall?
Well, I was going to say about the skating that I bet you Taylor skates a whole lot better than she was depicted to do. And so she did a great job at that. I actually used to figure skate myself and taught beginners
Wow.
skating.
Cool.
Wow.
Oh, great. Yeah.
So,
We never knew
So
that about
Didn't know
you.
that.
well, I can't do it anymore. So, but you know, I do live only about I think it's about 100 miles from where Kevin McGarry grew up. So, yeah, I spent a lot of time at the hockey rink myself. But I love their chemistry. All the cliches in the morning. Oh my gosh, that she couldn't get out of bed and like he was calling her to come to the
That was great.
diner for 7:30. That was hilarious. And then yeah, I just felt that the dialogue was really well done.
Yeah, for me, it was the conversations. I found myself like really enjoying I felt like their conversations got a little deeper than some of and he sort of had to,
Yeah.
right? Because she kind of had a
Yes.
wall up and was guarding a lot of her
Yes.
information. So like the first when they're like trying on clothes together and they're kind of getting to know each other, the conversation at the diner, I felt like they gave those scenes good. They were very meaty scenes and that you
They
got to
were.
know them. And
Yeah.
it was more of like it wasn't like a hit you in the face kind of chemistry. It was like kind of this subtle, like, oh, they're really kind of, and you start to see them exchanging smiles and like, oh, I kind of like this more than I thought I would, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
it grew over. It wasn't just all of a sudden. It steady growth.
Good
Like
basis for that.
It wasn't super exaggerated enemies to friends like it can be. Like,
right.
they sparred a little bit in the beginning, but it wasn't like, Dan and Aaron's movie where they were really,
butting heads.
butting heads in the beginning. It was I think I hats off to Kevin because I think some of the dialogue could have come across as he was saying such genuine and heartfelt things that it could come across as hokey. Like one of them was something about, let me see where it is in my notes. Oh, because it was they did that the night of your birth because it was the right thing to do and it wasn't out of like I think this is misplaced generosity. There were a number of lines like that, like we take volunteers seriously around here, we value time over money, and like some of that could have been like like a little heavy-handed, but he played it really well. It wasn't it didn't, so it totally worked for me. I like it.
And it always felt like his sort of grilling of her always felt like it was coming from a place of protection of his town, like his family. And it was more than a town to him, like it was his family. He was more like, there's more to this story. I need to get to and it was almost, maybe was the lawyer in his character kind of thing. But yeah.
Well,
Lori,
I definitely want to live in this town.
Oh,
yes, right? No joke.
I'm sure we were supposed to feel that, but yes.
Yeah.
It was the perfect timing for this film. I felt like, after the election and in a place in our country right now, we so often turn to Hallmark for escapism. And this was just such a healing, beautiful vibe. It was like, okay, this is what we aspire to. This is, these are our values. And can we get to that? It was lovely. Yeah. And in Canada too, Kim.
We have our stuff going on too.
Yeah, it's all good. All good.
Well, the reunion scene between Jack, the diner owner, and his son. I liked that. I liked how that was done. That was not, it was very sweet.
Yeah.
I was in tears.
Sweet. Yeah,
well, you're working ahead. We're not to all.
Yeah, you're jumping ahead.
Oh, sorry, I'm jumping all the fields. Sorry.
No,
you're good.
I was just saying,
it
tied in with what she was saying about Kevin, that it wasn't corny. It was not corny.
Right.
Yeah.
It was cool that we got to know, I felt like we got to know the peripheral characters really well. And they each had their own kind of version of what happened the night she was born. And so you got to hear how they each contributed to that night.
Were any of y'all wondering
Sorry, go
what
ahead.
they were all doing there? That at Christmas Eve, that's what I was wondering. Why is
Yeah.
the doctor
Explain. Jack did explain. He said it was like an informal town council or something.
Yeah,
right,
I wrote
yeah.
that down first thing. I was like, why are they all here on Christmas Eve?
Yeah. It
So I
had
was
a
glad
little
they did
Virgin
come back and
River
explain.
vibe to me, you know, the characters in the town. It felt,
Mhm.
you know, the sheriff and the, you know, the doctor. It had that Virgin River feeling kind of.
Yeah, it definitely did.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think. Did we cover chemistry? Yeah, I think we covered chemistry.
I think the chemistry was top notch.
Yeah.
I think it was top notch. I don't know. Do I think they had good chemistry with the mom and the daughter? I think so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Speaking of the mom, this jumped out at me. Her name Elizabeth Lane. Anybody fans of the classic Christmas movie Christmas in Connecticut with Barbara Stanwyck?
No.
That was her character's name, was Elizabeth Lane.
Really?
Oh,
That's one of my
Oh,
favorite
wow.
Christmas movies ever. And I was like,
that's
oh,
neat.
I wonder if they took it from that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Undoubtedly, there's a connection.
Mhm.
I love that they at the one party she was at when she won the Lane cosmetic.
That was hilarious.
I'm sorry. I
Like,
love that
what?
whole scene with the big bingo marker.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And,
Again,
and the
prop.
names like Nativity 32.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
She was all
It
Christmas.
was darling.
I was like,
It was
oh,
darling.
so many Hearties are going to take that to their next Christmas party and use
Yeah,
it.
no, it was adorable.
Totally. Yeah, that was great.
That leads us probably right into Christmas vibe.
Yeah,
Oh,
let's
there you
talk
go.
about the overall Christmas vibe. I mean, I definitely feel like this one, shout out to Martini Town. It was clearly shot at Martini Town.
Oh, tell me
And,
about that.
Oh,
Okay. All right.
And a
I know
lot of
that.
the
know it
scenes
either.
were there. And boy, they do Christmas big. That in Martini Town definitely had the decorations. As far
Yes.
as every
I-
scene was kind of covered in the decor at least.
Yeah. I did spy the town hall from Langley there. So
I did
yes.
too.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Almost as often featured as often as Denise is the town hall.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Denise is in everything, I tell you. I saw on the Hallmark Channel's post about the film, somebody remarked that the snow was very real, and it was. Like all the drone shots, I don't know how, well, maybe because it's Martini Town, they actually did capture it in snow. But yeah, I mean, there were it looked real, just like
Trying
yours.
to think of when it was snowing. When was it snowing?
Well, just use a lot of the overview shots, and then like outside the diner, there was snow. It was like banks
Okay.
of snow, but it looked more realistic. So
Mhm. Yeah, and I feel like they shot this one a little later. I remember, I almost think it was summer. Does
Wow.
anyone know when they shot it?
No.
Oh,
I
but
remember
it's-
seeing the
it
photo.
can't
There
have
was a
been in
photo
a
of
snowy time.
Yeah, there was a photo of Kevin and Kayla and Ben Ayers and Taylor that they
Hmm.
at a market or something. And I feel like it was in the middle of summer. I feel like they were in shorts and
Oh wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't need to hit you over the head with the Christmas decorations and traditions, but they, you know, there were enough in there. Of course, the elf and the Santa thing.
The Christmas tree
But
jamboree.
the
That was
whole
fun.
theme of it was benevolence, you know, and all these
Right. Yeah.
kindnesses, and
Yeah.
that's ultimately what Christmas is about, you know. So that
Mhm.
was really lovely. I did feel like, I know that the costuming was sort of supposed to be dressed down, but I always look for the outfits, and there were fewer times when I was like, oh, that's cute, I want that, you know, like I didn't get the little pings of fashion that I might have wanted.
I did write down, speaking of costumes, I love how when she was volunteered to be an elf, he like holds up one of this like giant green and red, and she's like, let me pick mine out myself. But two, she's in like a full gown.
She's
I was like, wait, that's her elf costume?
Yeah,
It
that's
was
I
the
thought the
gown?
same thing. And I was like, that's
She worked the system
Yeah.
very well
I was
for
like, wait,
herself.
was that?
and
Because when she
the
said, let me pick one out myself, I just assumed, oh, you know, a better fitting, still the same style, like the green
Right.
and red. Oh, no.
I was
No.
I was waiting for the Amazon truck to show up, actually.
to order her elf
Had
costume.
to have been if it was 2 days later, but you never know what you can find on Amazon these days. Honestly.
Did y'all notice the blue coat she wore after the make under? Did anybody
Yes.
The fuzzy one?
Yeah, did it, I don't know why it reminded me of Gowan's coat from the early season.
Oh, really?
Mm.
I'm thinking
I
of the
was like,
wrong one then.
that reminds me of Gowan's coat.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
You've been a Hardy too long, I guess.
I truly loved that what do you call it? The trade scene
Oh yeah.
where you could
the swap.
I love that. This like a swap meet, but a
Yes.
trade to make sure everyone has what they need during the season. Come on right now. That's so beautiful. It was lovely.
Yeah.
We have this tradition in Coronado where the youth group goes around and trades up for things, and like they'll start out with a piece of string and end up with a surfboard or golf cart. I mean, like they've gotten amazing things. Then they just literally go door to door. But that was it was so heartwarming. I love that. So
yeah, I found myself watching it and going, does this still happen? Because if so, I need to
I
find
want
one
in.
nearby. Like, what a cool idea.
I think we were supposed to start one, Jeanette.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hardy swap meets.
Well,
you know,
was
just like the
That's
Big Go idea, we're supposed to take these ideas and run with them.
this would really be a good movie to do that with, for sure, of all the ones we've
Totally.
seen.
Yeah.
Very good ones, yeah. Well, and I did like that it gave a little moment where we got a view of Kyle with I used to make these with my dad, and because he was a little bit of the strong, silent type. He didn't really open up about his family too much until later. So yeah, and her just casually, you know, giving away her $1,000 bracelet at the
right. Yeah, I was waiting for him to turn it over and go, oh my gosh, this is one of the ones that Dad and I made.
Oh,
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Did y'all put it together that his dad was the lawyer in the?
No.
I
started
really
thinking that. I started thinking that. I was like, I think his dad was the lawyer there. And before we found out his dad had passed away, I was thinking, is he going to take her to see his dad and it's going to put together? But no.
Good thinking.
Well, that's a good transition to All the Field, because that was actually what I had as mine, was that there was that connection between the two of them. I just love that. But it did turn out to be his dad that took the photo. And then them recreating the photo at the end. Oh my gosh, I love that.
Really neat.
That was, and the fact that Kyle's character took the photo just like his dad did. And that was really fun. Cool. What did you guys have? What gave you the feels?
I already said the father and son reunion. That was
I got teary when she told the sheriff about the memorial that was going to be put up about for these generations of law enforcement that they all these years. That was very touching. I got some goosebumps on that one. I laughed, I cried, I did all the things. I got the flirty goosebumps. It was all definitely. I didn't cry for Holiday Crashers or Santa Tell Me. So this one definitely had more of the
feels.
All the feels. Yeah.
Yeah.
The,
I was super
truck.
excited when Jack called Elizabeth to say, you know, you should come out here. And then the connection between the two of them, I was like, oh, this is fun. You know, like she's single and he's seeing her for herself.
Was there
as
romance there?
Right?
Was there a
I
little?
think there was some spark there. Yeah,
I thought that it was
thinking
gonna
so,
go
too.
somewhere too.
Yeah, it might. Yeah, if there was ever a sequel.
Well, because Jack was quite a catch. That guy was like the heart of the town. My goodness. He was like looking out for everybody. And what a good guy he was.
Really was. The fire truck, that got me too.
I agree. Can you
Me
imagine?
too.
And his name was Fred Garland, so it was a Christmas. If it was meant to be.
Oh,
Yeah.
fun.
Well, the
Mind
actor,
you, I
Was it
actually
Fred
put it
Garland
on
or
pause.
Roy Garland? Roy Garland.
Roy Garland. I actually put it on pause and said to my spouse, "Oh, as if you could just pull out a fire truck in 2 days."
Yeah, but can you imagine to a community? I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah,
is
they
there any
cost
better
like,
gift, you
I
know?
know. They're
yeah.
like $500,000
Mhm.
and they take
Right.
2
Yeah.
years to build.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, maybe a billionaire could make that happen, Kim. We're
Right.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
there had to be one on a lot somewhere, so that was
Mhm.
awesome. I loved it.
Mhm.
I love it too.
Well, and the actor who played was it the fire, like the head of the fire department, just played
Mhm.
that really well. I mean, he got emotional in that moment, and yeah, made it.
Mhm.
Yeah, the way
Yeah,
he touched
and
it and it was really sweet. And then
but
back to funny, you talked about the three strikes scene with the sheriff
oh my.
and
Uh,
her photo when she
Oh
went
yeah.
to the jail. But I also really liked when she said, "We need to discuss your parking tickets." And he was
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Oh, that meter was broken." And she's like, "There are 16 of them." It was great. It was a great
Yeah.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was actually waiting for Evie to maybe pay off his parking tickets as her gift to him.
Oh, I bet that was in the script. I bet it got cut. I
Probably.
bet it got cut. And I got a little like flirty goosebump moment when he was like when Jack was going to throw the birthday party and she said and he was like, "Oh, it's like a hot ticket or whatever." He goes, "I hope I can get an invite." And she said,
Mm,
"You can be my plus one." And they
yeah.
so underplayed it, but it was like,
Right.
"Ooh,
Mhm.
Yeah.
this
Pivotal.
is odd. This is odd."
Yeah. The flirty
Yeah.
moment that I got, I actually wrote it down, was when she goes to the hockey game and then Jack comes in and sits down and he goes, "I didn't know you were a hockey fan." And she was like, "More of a hockey coach fan." I was
Oh,
like, "Oh,"
Yeah.
and then they
yes.
exchanged that look across the ice, and
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
really, yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have a
Like
flirty
their,
moment, Lori, that you liked?
I just like their moments. It was like you started
Yeah.
noticing that they would find each other. They
Mhm.
would seek each other out, and I liked that. Just kind of grew
Yeah.
up those moments.
The glances across the room
Yeah.
where they'd
Mhm.
connect.
Yes, I
Yeah.
like those
That
connections.
was nice.
Yeah, it
Agreed.
felt like a good balance of like some funny banter at first when they're jabbing each other,
Mhm.
and then to flirty banter, and then to really heartfelt shared experiences
Mhm.
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
them. So
Yes.
it's a good
Yeah.
romantic balance. But well, what about something new? Did this movie have besides the cattail that just walked across the that was something new. Was
She's
there
still here.
It wouldn't be a heart to Hearties with
Hilarious.
Kim if we didn't have a
I
cattail.
know, I know,
No.
it's too
I
funny.
know.
But what was different about this film from the regular formula?
I
For
think
me, it was
go
that
ahead.
there wasn't a big conflict like that had the main cast, like the two of them didn't have a conflict that sent them in opposite directions, that they had to
Yeah.
figure out the misunderstanding and then come back together.
That's a
I just
great point.
enjoyed that.
That's
Mhm.
a
That's a good
great
point. They
point.
really worked together the majority
Yeah.
of the movie.
Yeah.
And even
Yeah.
when that was revealed, they worked through it so quickly.
Mhm.
Usually you have to wait like a couple scenes down the road before
Yeah.
they kind of work through
Good
it.
point. I
Yeah.
like that.
That's great. Yeah, like you always in that next to last scene
Mhm.
Mhm.
act have that kind of storming off or
Yeah.
abrupt, severed relationship, and there wasn't anything really.
No,
Even
it was
when she
all for the good of
revealed,
others.
yeah, even when
Yeah.
she revealed who she was and about the trust fund, it turned very quickly because she explained, that it was for the greater good and that kind of thing. So there wasn't. Yeah, it's a great point.
Mhm.
I think it was pretty formulaic, but again, like as Lori mentioned, I loved how the mother, because there was a little ick factor with that too, that the mother set her up to lose her trust fund and all that stuff. I was like, oh, come on, that what that does is with the drama, it creates this ticking time, thing that happens, and that's why you're seeing the crossing off of dates. You're realizing that she's about to lose her money. But then when the mother comes there and tells Jack that, that it was really an exercise in her getting exposed to this town and people who would love her for her, that was really nice. That really grounded it for me and removed it. So again, Hearties, stick with it. If you only watch the beginning and we're like, I don't know if I can get into this, you gotta stick with this one because the payoffs are great. So
now that I'm thinking about it, I like the fact that there wasn't the bad girl, the mean girl.
Oh yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the mean girl, trying to
Split them
cause trouble.
up or yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like that. I don't like the mean girls. I like that they didn't have that this time.
Yeah, good.
For me, the something different was just, I really think it's rare that they make the leading lady unlikable, especially at the beginning. Like, I think there's some point where they make her flawed, or then that sometimes might be the flaw is what causes the big misunderstanding. But when it's like, I don't know that I've seen another movie where it's like right out of the gate like that. So yeah, I'm glad that we're talking about it, like you said, Mark. So if people were like, I don't know, like if you hang in there, she gets there in a big way. So
and Taylor played it really well.
She did.
I love her. I don't know that I know I've seen her, but like she hasn't stuck with me, and now I will really be looking for her.
Didn't she do Ruby Herring? Wasn't that the Ruby Herring mysteries? Yeah,
she did. Yeah,
I just kind of stopped. I like those.
Yeah, I honestly feel like for me, and I don't know how you guys felt. Like this is probably my favorite of Kevin's Christmas movies. Like
it's right up there, definitely.
When I looked through the list today, as far as comedic, I loved Christmas Scavenger Hunt. I don't know.
I love that. I love that.
It was hysterical, like hysterical.
Agreed.
I just remember laughing out loud.
Yes,
I really loved him in that. This, I think, is my favorite of more of the dramatic roles. He just both of them just seemed very comfortable. There was
very at ease
between them.
Completely.
That was really lovely. There was never any scenes where I was like, "Ooh, that was an acting choice," like with either of them, with
Not
anybody
at all.
really.
Yeah.
I mean, the acting from everybody was really just on point. And I loved Kyle's story. I think the character of Kyle was very appealing. The way his backstory, right? That the town sort of raised him. That was really, I loved that scene when he told her that story and they shared that moment where he got to share, like, these people, this is why they mean so much to me.
They raised money for his scholarship, so he came and gave back to the town. And yeah, no, I completely agree. He just was very natural. There was a moment in the ice rink, like the whole meet cute, the whole opening scene just felt very natural to me. Nothing about it was put on.
I think
Kevin's at home in an ice rink.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think every Christmas movie with him has to have him on that.
Agreed. Let's just go right back to the ice rink. Hockey rink.
Well, I was thinking about, how many of the Hallmark actors are actually, hockey players, actually have that much skating skill. You know what I mean? I mean, there are some, but it's probably not that many of them. So when it gets
maybe once the scriptwriter hears it's going to be Kevin, they add an ice scene to make sure.
That might be possible.
They should, yes.
It's quite likely. Yeah, like where are we going to have this? Oh, at the arena.
At the ice rink now, obviously. It was supposed to be at a movie theater before, but it's going to be at the ice rink now.
That's right.
Too funny. Well, any last thoughts on the film overall from the rest of it?
I think it celebrated what Christmas, what we'd like to think Christmas is all about, and just honored family and tradition, and but also just these lovely values of community. And I'm going to start to get like it's just like that's what it's all about. And it was nice. It was just really nice.
It's a good fit for the Hearties for sure.
Yeah, it's a very sweet Hallmark Christmas movie. It really is.
Yeah,
very, very good fit. Yeah,
and so sad that our cast that's the end of our cast films, but there's still lots of good stuff coming from Hallmark.
Yeah,
there's
even
a ton
born
of
yet.
I'm super excited for Ashley Williams and Andrew Walker this weekend. That looks adorable. And there's a
Thanksgiving
lot.
weekend has tons of packed full of
Yes.
big films too.
Is
so.
that when
And
the sequel to Three Men,
who knows where Denise is going to
Three
pop up?
Wise Men? I know. She can be part
Well,
of the Three
and
Wise Men
honestly,
next.
to be honest, you never know, because like we've seen sometimes the kids or like Rothgar
Yeah.
pops up, or
They
Jack
should-
Wagner popped up one year in it. So you never know. We need to watch those promo
That's
pics
right.
because
Agreed.
somebody else might pop up for sure.
And
Well,
don't
the
forget Eva
cameos.
Bourne and
Yep.
Ali
that's
Scope
right.
by also have movies coming up, right?
Oh, that's
Yes,
right.
good point. Good point. And then not to forget that a week from tomorrow, November 23rd, we have Brian Bird's film that he produced, Little Women's Christmas, is coming to Great American Family.
Mhm.
And the writer of that, I don't know if Hearties had heard that she is a Heartie. Like
She is. That's amazing.
Right.
I actually met her back in the day at Home and Family when I used to fly out to LA for Home and Family. So
Oh, too cool.
I met her at least one. I feel like she was there a couple times. So
That is so exciting. And this is her first film that's been purchased. Wow. What a
That's
cool story. What a cool story. Well, I love
That is
Little
neat.
Women, so
Mhm.
totally down for it. Totally
Yeah.
down for it. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you all. Any further comments? Anything that you didn't get to say about this? We got a trifecta of amazing movies. We really did.
We
And
did.
so different.
Yeah, very different. That was what was fun, because it's
Mhm.
So
they're three
different.
very different
Yeah.
actors too. So it was fun
Yeah.
to see them. It's always fun to see the cast branch out into new, exciting,
Yes.
just different, a variety, to see what they've got as far as their acting chops, what they bring to these different
Mhm.
characters is really fun.
Yeah, but I would say all three of these have been favorites of the season for me.
Mhm.
And I'm not just saying that because they're
Mhm.
our favorite actors, but truly, these were very strong,
Mhm.
very strong Hallmark
Mhm.
contributions. So
Mhm.
yay, that's good.
Yeah.
And no major lying in this one. So I mean, there was a lie,
There was kind of.
Yeah.
yeah, kind of.
But I mean, it was part of the fun because that she had to get the
Right.
trifecta because of the lie.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
and it was on her. The punishment was on her, not on other people.
Right. Got it.
I think
Yes.
just say it. You don't like Lindsay Fonseca. You're Team Taylor Cole. That's it.
Yeah, you're going to be a new Taylor fan. Yeah. No, super appealing. Well, obviously, Aaron and Dan had a certain appeal, but in terms of who our other, who Chris and Kevin were matched with, they were very appealing.
Mhm.
Every year, it's so fun to see what new faces get paired together for these films. So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It is.
Great
It is.
chemistry throughout. So
Mhm.
I
thank
think
you all.
they pulled them out of a bowl or something.
Yeah, well, we know that Candace Elzinga was the casting director for Holiday Crashers. You said Penny Perry was for
I think she was for both
And
of
to Tell Me, or for both of these. I don't know who the casting.
I saw her name on Santa Tell Me.
I did too.
I
Okay.
feel like she was for this one too. I saw her
Oh,
on
okay.
something
All
recently.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh no, maybe no. I take that back. I just watched Holidays. That's where I saw. Her.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Well,
Which-
done on the casting, and bring on
Oh.
our When It Calls the Heart actors as much.
Yes. And
Yeah.
also Viv's son, Lennox, is in Holidays. If anybody wants to check it out.
Oh,
That'll
great.
be
So we got to
fun.
check that out.
Mhm.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay.
All
Very
of these
good.
things to get us through to January 5th.
I know.
All right. Yes.
It is.
Biggest news of all.
Around the corner.
I
It's
know.
tomorrow.
Countdown has
basically.
begun.
7 weeks to go.
Arties, we
Crazy.
tell you to stay with us for the off season, but the off season is like this.
I know.
Right. And everybody's
Yeah.
going to be at Christmas parties the next month. So I don't know.
Right.
I know.
Someone in the
Okay.
Hardydom volunteer to watch for, all the poster drops and that kind of thing
I
for
know.
us. And send us a DM when you see
Yeah,
it.
keep the admins informed, will you? Because
Yes.
we're going to be trying to balance putting turkey on the table and ornaments on the tree as we're getting ready for this season. So never have we needed the Hearties more than during this crazy season of build up to our show. So subscribe, leave us a comment. We're excited you're here with us, Hearties, and we can't wait to see you again very soon for Heart to Hearties, be it Valley Voice Editorial Christmas Edition or season 12, all of our interviews yet to come. And thank you.
Don't forget to tell us what you thought of the movie in the
Thank you,
comments.
Jeanette. Please make sure to tell us in your remarks what you thought of these films, because we're eager to hear from you. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, all.